you want to finish your crisps? Hello and welcome back to the Most Dangerous Podcast. I'm James. It's Friday, the 21st of June. I don't think we've put the date in before, have we? How are you, Fraser?
I'm okay, yeah. I'm good, thanks. I'm not too bad. I had a, as usual, busy week with all the kids, but yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, I'm absolutely shattered. And the reason being is, as I mentioned the date before, so yesterday. So as you know, the Euros are on at the moment,
Yeah.
which we're all enjoying. Before I go on, I do this for every international tournament. When it starts, I just get super excited,
Yeah.
and I watch like every single game for about 4 days. So that's like 3 games a day. It's 12 games in like 3 or 4 days, and then it gets to that point where you go, bloody hell, I don't know if I can handle any more football now.
You're
Just like
sitting
completely,
2
yeah,
in the afternoon watching Ukraine versus Slovenia or
yeah,
something like that.
like,
Going,
nah, I'm
what
not
am I
that
doing?
invested. I'm not that invested. But yesterday, England played Denmark, and I left work early, and I know you're not a big drinker or anything. You're not really into
No.
drinking and stuff, are you? But I do. There are certain occasions where I kind of like to have a beer,
Mhm.
and watching football is one of those occasions. So I got home at like sort of 4:45, cracked open a beer, but the sun was shining for the first time this summer, I think. I was super excited. The game was absolutely awful. England are crap again. But anyway, one thing led to another, and I had a one-man party. I got see, I got about 3 hours sleep, and I sat in work today just with a stinking hangover, going,
Nice.
why did I do it on a school night?
Yeah.
And it's one of those where like I didn't want to do work because I felt so rough, but I was like, but if I do work, the day will go quicker because I'm not just sat here like stinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so it's going to be a lethargic episode today because I'm just super tired, and I think as soon as it's over, I'm just going to go and get my head down.
Yeah. Well, you've really sold that to the listeners tonight, James. But
Yeah.
yeah, well, we do all the cheerleading and dancing and stuff. Not me, my daughters. And it was their annual show this week. So Monday night rehearsals, Tuesday night rehearsals, Wednesday night show, Thursday night show. So the first 3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Laura and the girls were there till probably 10 o'clock each night. So I was home alone with the boys, and I actually got to watch the Scotland game in peace, which was nice. But it kind of meant that I was manning the house as well and doing all the stuff. But it's also Murray's birthday on Sunday, but we're
Is
doing
it?
his.
Happy birthday, Murray.
I'm sure he appreciates that. So that I've been trying to sort that out this week, but also I'm going to see Travis and the Killers tomorrow night, which was my Father's Day present from
Oh
last.
yeah, Father's Day present.
I know.
I think I told you, didn't I? Yeah. So you got like an absolutely bumper pack of gifts and the Killers tickets, and it was supported by Travis and all sorts of chocolate and all sorts of stuff.
Well, sorry to interrupt, because I must add that on Monday night I also got because we didn't have all the kids on Father's Day because Laura's ones were with her dad. So on Monday night, I also got a Rangers shirt for each year the kids were born.
Really?
Yeah, so I got 5 Rangers shirts: 2008, 2011, 2013, 2016, 2020.
Well, like real ones that you could actually wear.
Yeah, real Ranger shirts. Yeah, Laura's actually sat on like Vinted and all that, trying to find them from the each one for the year the kids were born.
Do you know what I got?
Go on.
Well, I told you anyway, but for the listeners, I got a card.
Yeah.
Right. But I got up in the morning, the kids forgot that it was Father's Day. And then they give me the card at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon and went, oh yeah, like we forgot this is for you.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And then like Katie, my partner, she said to the kids like, well, are you not going to give him a cuddle? And then I got a cuddle because they were told to give me a cuddle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we don't really do Father's Day and stuff like that, but Yeah, you were spoilt there. To be fair,
I was spoilt rotten, yeah. I don't know if it's because I've got loads of kids. I think, well, Laura obviously does the hard work, so I appreciate everything she did for me for Father's Day. I was never a big Father's Day person. My dad never bothered. I saw my dad every day, worked with him, spoke to him every day, so I didn't feel the need to, have this special day for him. But
yeah.
I fully appreciate being on the receiving end of it. I used to send the customary text message: "Money short, time is hard. Happy Father's Day. There won't be a card."
Yeah.
Something like that.
I mean, it's my own fault, I think, because when it comes to Mother's Day, and Kate, like this kind of sort of started like years and years ago. At first, like when we first start sort of going out, the first couple of years or whatever, it's like, oh, when you first have kids, it's like, oh, this one's off such and such, and then it kind of sort of fizzled out a bit, and then so I think the partner was kind of like expecting something for Mother's Day, and then ultimately I was just like, I think I was really skint at the time, just getting fed up with, like, it was like Valentine's Day, then Mother's Day, and I'm like, so she's like, "Are you getting me anything for Mother's Day?" And I just went, "Well, you're not my fucking mother, are you?" And then that just sort of put the final nail in the coffin. Then
That's a fair point, but yeah, I don't know. We've always done that. We don't bother. We don't do Valentine's Day. We have a wedding anniversary. That's our day.
Yeah,
We don't do the day we met or all the other things people celebrate. And even at Christmas, me and Laura just exchange just a small gift, a token gift, because that's about the kids.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think even Christmas, it's just like over the past couple of years, everyone's been a bit skint, haven't they? So we've just kind of got. I think this year we bought each other a ticket for. Did I mention I went to see the Smashing Pumpkins and Weezer?
Yeah.
So that was our Christmas present.
Right.
So yeah, so I bought hers and she bought mine. That's it. So yeah, that's the sort of stuff we do. Anyway, I guess we're going on a bit, aren't we? Are we?
Well, yeah. I just have one more thing I need to squeeze in. I had a late night text conversation with a good fan of the show, a chap called, we've mentioned before, Bill Angove.
Oh, Bill. Yeah, hi, Bill.
So I was having a wee chat with Bill, and he was just saying he loves the show. He says that he's become accustomed to listen to it when he's playing late night poker.
Or Atari darts.
Or Atari darts, yeah. Bill has a YouTube channel. I just want to give him a shout out because he's a good guy. Can't So This, CANTSOTHIS. Go in there and watch him playing his Atari darts and other things that he does on YouTube.
It's very retro. I enjoy it. It's kind of really chilled. It's kind of something you can just put in the background while you're playing a bit of, I don't know.
Yeah. In the bath or something.
I don't know about the bath.
But he asked me, he wanted to ask, how are you, James? So I thought we'll give Bill another wee shout out anyway.
Yeah, I'm great, Bill. Thanks for listening. Keep on listening. And if you haven't given us a review, do it. 5 stars, 4 stars, no less.
Yeah,
nice one, Bill. Which probably leads us in nicely to the socials.
The socials, yeah. So the usual, Facebook's growing. It's actually really growing all the time.
Is it good?
Yeah, we're up to. I'm not going to keep shouting out the numbers because it still sounds pathetic, but about 150 now.
Really?
But if you remember, it wasn't that long ago we were trying to get to 100. Now we're on 150, so we've scooshed it.
We're getting there.
Yeah, so we're dead easy to find. The Most Dangerous Podcast. You'll find us on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, always under The Most Dangerous Podcast with the same wee logo.
Yeah.
So easy to find.
The Most Dangerous Podcast.
Yes.
And check us out. Give us a review. A good review.
Okay, a good one.
Don't give us a shit one. If you don't like it, don't listen. It's that simple.
Absolutely, yeah. Fuck off.
It's not for you. Then if it's not for you, it's not for you. But don't be nasty about it. Right, excellent. So that's the intro. I guess it's time for dangerous news. Boop, 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 boop. I told you I'm tired.
Really not feeling it tonight, James, no?
Oh, it's taking all my energy out of me now.
Right, so I've got 3 average stories here. I'll be really honest. Do you know, sometimes I go and I look for news and there's like 10 stories and I have to pick 3 out of them. And
Yeah,
sometimes I go and I go, nothing's changed since James's stories last week. It's the
yeah. You
same
really have
ones
to sort
coming
of
up.
scrape the barrel a bit. Yeah.
So there's one that's quite good, but this one these things make me laugh. So this is called New Nostradamus.
Oh right, I like stuff like this.
Okay, so today we delve into the alarming predictions of Kushal Kumar, dubbed the New Nostradamus, who
Mm.
foresees World War III breaking out imminently. Kumar,
That's,
it's always
anyone
World
can
War
say
III.
that. Anyone can say that though, can't they? Go on.
I mean, realistically, since the mid 50s, we've been on the brink of World War III. We've
I
talked
mean,
about this before.
you could arguably say we're kind of in it. It's already started, really, with
Yeah,
the amount
yeah.
of shit that's going on. But yeah, go on then.
Uh, so Kumar, an Indian astrologer, has doubled down in his chilling forecast that a catastrophic nuclear conflict, ready for this, will begin in June 2024. So they're going to have to get a wriggle on because it's the
Well, we got
21st of
nine
June.
days left.
Yeah, so yeah, they're going to have to get started, aren't they?
Yeah, good luck,
Um,
everyone.
Using Vedic astrology, no idea what that is, he identified this date based on planetary alignments, claiming the current global tensions align with his prediction. So apparently, the way the planets are lined up means that there's going to be World War III.
Yeah, I think sort of Nostradamus did a similar sort of thing. I think that was his sort of vibe, is to do with like planetary
Yeah.
positions and stuff. But then Nostradamus, like, I don't know if you've ever looked into him. He wrote like really ambiguous poems, so
Right.
that could be like interpreted to mean pretty much anything. So that's kind of like where he got his sort of credit from. Whereas this guy is literally going, "This is going to happen in
Oh yeah,
June
yeah,
2024," and this reminds like last week you did cults, or sort of like a couple of cults and things like that.
yeah, yeah.
And I was thinking about this sort of over the past few days. It reminds me a little bit of that. Do you know, you get these cults who kind of like these doomsday cults, and they kind of go, right, the world is going to end on this particular date, right? And they all sort of get together and they sit there and they wait for this date, and it comes and nothing happens. And then
Yeah.
they're all sat around going, well, we think what God actually meant was this date instead.
Yeah. We
And
forgot to carry the one.
yeah. So, I mean, how is this guy the new Nostradamus when he's just making sort of these bold claims? I mean, has he made any other earlier predictions that have come?
No, this is it. And basically, I mean, guess what? He's pointed to the rising hostilities between Israel and Hamas, and Russia and NATO, and China and Taiwan. I mean, the stuff that we all know.
That we all know about, yeah?
Yeah, so like, I could say to my kids, "Oh, I think there's going to be World War III because there's quite a lot of tension out there in the world." And
Yeah, that's
just
not a
like, am I now?
Nostradamus thing, is it?
Yeah.
Like, you're just making like it's a statement.
Ah,
It's not a prediction.
so basically, that's the story. I'm not going to give him any more airtime.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to sort of rip it apart there. But yeah.
No, it was there to be ripped apart, definitely. Okay, story 2. I live with a haunted doll possessed by a woman who was killed by her husband. Alice lives with Billy, a porcelain doll she believes is possessed by the spirit of a florist tragically murdered by her abusive husband. Billy, who longed to be a mother, was killed when her husband discovered her pregnancy. Now Billy's spirit resides in the doll, which is seeking a new home on Etsy for £377.
What, the doll put itself up for sale?
Promising to protect her owner from abuse. Intrigued by the haunted doll community, Alice delves into online forums and Facebook groups dedicated to these creepy collectibles. So basically, there's this woman, Alice, that's discovered that people are actually... It's become a business of people selling haunted dolls.
Oh yeah, it's big. Yeah, if you go onto eBay, you can buy haunted dolls, haunted paintings as well. That's another thing you can get.
Right.
It's it's a really big thing.
So what? Right. So I've gone to the market and I've bought 10 porcelain dolls for £8.50 each, and I bring them home and I rip some of their clothes a little bit and maybe smash an ear off, and I put them on eBay and say it's haunted and I want £400.
Potentially, yeah, but yeah.
How do you How do you prove they're haunted?
Well, I suppose that you could provide some sort of evidence. I don't know if you've ever seen this clip. You could perhaps put it up on Facebook or something. There was, the program This Morning.
Yeah.
Okay, so for listeners outside the UK, there is an early morning, I'll say a mid-morning TV show in the UK that's on 5 days a week, and it's basically like a magazine show, and they just sort of look into some day-to-day things, mental health or health, and things that it's a bit shit. It's for people who work at home probably, or like just women. I think sort of
It's the
middle-aged
usual
women.
shit, isn't it? A bit of news, a bit of shopping, and a chef turns up and cooks something.
Yeah, and does something like a simple pasta dish. Anyway, so I have a look at this. So one time they brought this haunted doll in, right, and they were interviewing this lady who claimed that the doll was haunted.
Vaguely remember this.
Whilst they were interviewing her, now it could be a complete hoax. There could be wires or string or whatever. But whilst they were interviewing her, it was sat in a rocking chair. I should add, this doll. And whilst they were interviewing her, the chair starts to rock like live on air.
Right.
So this program This Morning, it's live, isn't it? So yeah, it just starts to rock really sort of gradually, and then it just freaks everyone out who's there. Now again, it could be staged, but there is a real belief in the community that certain items can be possessed by spirits.
Yeah. Wow.
So I don't know how you kind of prove it, but I think, photographic evidence. You sort of film it overnight and watch it move a bit or something. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if I'd want one.
No, I've never thought the house was missing a haunted doll. I'll be honest.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know. I've mentioned it a few times. I'm really well into all this stuff. I need a paranormal experience. I'm desperate for one. But then I'm not willing to buy stuff like haunted dolls, so it's probably never going to happen. They pick too much of a chicken.
People, I mean, I know this is probably just because of movies, but I don't recall anyone having a good paranormal experience.
Oh, I don't know. You sort of perhaps see a loved one, or you get a warning from something that's unexplainable. I don't know. But,
anyway, last story. I've titled Big Shiny Pillar. A mysterious monolith. Do you know what a monolith is?
Yeah, it's like just a column, isn't it? Like
it's just like a big standing plain column of some sort. Isn't it? That's good because I wasn't really sure. I've seen pictures of it though, so I had an idea. It's just a big column. A mysterious monolith has been discovered in a remote mountain range near Las Vegas, baffling local police. Now, I've seen picture of this. It's basically it's square. What do you call a square pillar, not a round pillar?
Yeah.
And it is immaculately clean, shiny mirror. Right? So you can almost not see it because it's in the desert. So it's just reflecting desert everywhere, and it's almost a little bit like Predator. Where you can kind of see it.
Yeah, but it's reflecting off everything, so it's difficult.
Yeah.
I think I've heard about this before.
It's not the first one. The shiny mirrored object was spotted by a volunteer search and rescue unit near Gas Peak in the Desert National Wildlife Refuge. Las Vegas police, sharing an image on social media, expressed their surprise at the unusual find, noting that while they see many strange things, this monolith was particularly enigmatic. And it says the discovery is part of a series of similar sightings worldwide since 2020.
That's right, yeah. So I was going to ask the date of this article, actually, because I thought it was the original one.
No, this is new. This is
a new one that they've discovered. So, like I say, I've heard of it before. I know that it started back in 2020. I think that was in the desert somewhere.
It was in Utah.
That's right. And there's been various sort of discoveries of these things around the world. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that some of them are just people fucking around. Mm-hmm. And they've gone, yeah, that was me, actually, yeah. But then other ones are unexplainable. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't actually say in the story that they've removed it or really investigated it too much, but from the pictures, it looks like you would really have a job of kind of sneaking it in there, and
and it's like such a remote place as well.
yeah,
So it's not
it's
just
so
somewhere you can,
perfect.
yeah, just drop it off and then head off home. You're in the middle of nowhere. But what really annoys me about stuff like this is that, all right, so you've got these that are popping up and they're very weird, and then you've got people who do these hoaxes, and the people who do the hoaxes like really take away the credibility of it,
Yeah,
because you kind of go in, well, if they can do it, someone else has done that. But what if it is something really mystical, or it's from outer space and aliens have dropped it off?
possibly, yeah.
Probably not. But just I'm just saying, like, because the hoaxes kind of mess it up for everyone else. It's like when you watch these kind of weird ghost videos on YouTube and stuff, and some of them are so blatantly fake that you kind of go, well, obviously that's just been a set up. But then that takes away the credibility from the ones that are real, because you kind of go in, well, there's a possibility that they've sort of manipulated that to make it look like a haunted or whatever. So I don't know. It does me head in, these people who fake things like that.
Something that's just come to me, and something I'd quite like to do with you. Laura was on holiday. We discussed this. She was away on holiday last week, and they were in Mallorca, and they did when I say a tour, they broke in. They just went into an abandoned hotel.
Oh yeah.
And she took a load of videos of just walking around this abandoned hotel, and it's quite creepy. But it's middle of the day in Mallorca, so it's not like at night or anything.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we should like go and do one day. Do like a video blog.
Could do, yeah. I mean, there is an urban explorer community,
Yeah,
where people do go to these sort of buildings and abandoned houses and sort of essentially trespass and break in. But and things are just left as they were when people either died in the property or whatever. And
just up the road, there's like Camelot. People go to the old Camelot theme park. They actually opened that at night and did like a zombie thing for Halloween.
that'd be
The
cool.
abandoned Camelot Park, but there's like old Mr. Blobby World and stuff like that. These like mad old theme parks. I think would be interesting. I think we should do that and video it.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Yeah, we'll do that. Drop us a line, drop us an email, or drop us a comment if you think that'd be interesting to watch.
Definitely. Yeah, so that's this week's Dangerous News.
All right, thank you very much. Dangerous news. So now it's time for our tale of the week, and as it's my week, I've been painstakingly slaving away at putting something together for you to listen to, Fraser. And this week, it's the story of Minnie Dean, the infamous baby farmer of New Zealand.
Right. Okay. So I'm imagining a little bit like Boss Baby, but like a country version, where it's like a little kid, like dungarees, bit of straw coming out his mouth, hat on, bottle in one hand, spade in the other.
Yeah, baby farm. A baby farm sounds more sinister than it is, as we'll find out.
Right. Okay. It's not a lot of women in cages, like pregnant women.
No, not quite. I mean,
No.
So I'll do a bit of background, and then obviously we'll sort of move our way through the story. Minnie Dean, born Wilhelmina McCulloch on September the 2nd, 1844, in Greenock. Do you know Greenock, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about this before.
Greenock,
it's one of those.
Glasgow.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's one of these places that you can't say unless you say it in the accent of the place. Like,
yeah,
it's not Greenock, is it? It's Greenock.
Greenock,
yeah. So you have to say it in a Scottish accent. So in Scotland, yeah. So it's about 20 odd miles away from Glasgow.
It's people from Greenock don't like being called Glasgow, but
it's, she was born 2nd of September 1844, as I say. And it's a name, Minnie Dean, that resonates with infamy in New Zealand's criminal history, as she's the only woman to have been executed in New Zealand.
Wow.
Minnie Dean's life and crimes have left an indelible mark on the nation's collective memory. Her involvement in the sinister practice of baby farming, a tragic facet of Victorian-era social issues, culminated in a series of events that shocked the public and led to significant legal reforms. Wilhelmina McCulloch was born into a relatively modest family in Greenock, Scotland. Little is documented about her early years, but it is known that she married Charles Dean, a cabinet maker, in 1872. Now, this is disputed, so if anyone knows about this case, please let me know. But I saw that she was married in 1872, and then it says here that she emigrated to New Zealand in 1877. Now, I've heard other reports that said that she was in New Zealand in the late 1860s and married Charles Dean while she was there. So I'm not sure about that. But at some point, she married Charles Dean and they lived in New Zealand.
Right.
Okay. The reason they moved is because they were basically seeking better opportunities and a fresh start. Initially, they settled in Invercargill, which I guess is in New Zealand, where they faced significant financial hardships. Charles struggled to find consistent work, and Minnie began to take in lodgers and later ventured into child minding, which gradually led to her involvement in baby farming. So just to give you some context. So the late 19th century was a period marked by rapid industrialisation and urbanisation, which brought about significant social changes. One of the pressing issues was the plight of unmarried mothers and their illegitimate children. Society norms stigmatised these women, often leaving them with few options. Baby farming emerged as a response to this problem, where women like Minnie Dean offered to take in the infants for a fee. So essentially like a foster home, I suppose.
Right.
Unfortunately, this practice often led to neglect, abuse, and even the death of many children due to the poor conditions and lack of proper care.
Wow.
So if you think about it, some unmarried woman gets knocked up, can't afford the baby, doesn't know what to do with it, so they put them in these, what they were called baby farms, where ladies like Minnie Dean would say, look, if you give us £2, we'll take him in, we'll look after him, and then eventually I think the idea was to sort of put them up for adoption,
or release them in the wild.
Release them in the wild, like the Apple computer. Minnie Dean's involvement in baby farming began innocuously enough. She advertised her services in local newspapers, offering to care for unwanted babies. Parents, desperate and often unable to care for their children due to financial or social pressures, entrusted their infants to her. Minnie charged a fee for her services, which ranged from a few pounds, as I mentioned, for short-term care, to more substantial sums for permanent arrangements. However, Minnie's care for these children was far from benign. The first indication of foul play emerged in the early 1890s, where rumours began to circulate about the unusual high numbers of infants in her care and their sudden disappearance. The suspicions were initially difficult to substantiate, as record keeping was poor, and many of the children were not officially registered. Minnie's practice involved taking in children, often under the guise of finding them new homes, but instead, many were neglected or deliberately killed.
Wow.
In 1895, Dean was observed boarding a train carrying a young baby and a hatbox, but was later observed leaving the same train without the baby and only the hatbox. A woman, Jane Hornsby, came forward claiming to have given her granddaughter Eva to Dean, and the clothes identified as belonging to this child were found at Dean's residence, but Dean could not produce the child herself. A search was carried out along the railway line and found no signs of the child. Dean was arrested and charged with murder. Her garden was dug up, and 3 bodies, 2 of babies and 1 of a boy estimated to be about 3 years old, were uncovered. An inquest found that one child, Eva, had died of suffocation, and one, later identified as 1-year-old Dorothy Edith Carter, had died from an overdose of a substance called laudanum, which I've not heard of before, but apparently it's used to sedate children. So
Right.
might be able to get it on the internet, maybe.
Yeah. I'll look that up.
The cause of death for the third child was not determined, and Dean was charged with murder. So that was a bit of a messy paragraph, that. So I'm just going to sort of go back over it so you kind of understand. So she got on a train with a baby in a hat box, right? I don't know if this baby was dead or alive, but I'm guessing it was sleeping, or looked like it was sleeping.
Yeah.
Right. She then left the train and the hat box was empty. Right. So then this lady, what was her name? Jane Hornsby, raised suspicions with authorities, and the authorities went to her house, Minnie Dean's house, found these clothes of this girl called Ava, and then dug up a garden and found 3 bodies.
Shit.
So the baby that was on the train was never found.
Right, okay. The baby wasn't Ava then?
No, that's what I mean. That's what it
bodies.
sounds like. Yeah, but yeah. So the baby wasn't found. So they did the search along the railway, but they couldn't find any sign of this baby. And then they went to a house, found some clothing, but couldn't find Eva. So they decided to do a more extensive search, dug up the garden, and found 3 bodies, and one of them was Eva.
Wow. Okay.
Right. So then she was arrested and charged with murder.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Minnie Dean's trial began on June 18th, 1895. I need my bed. Sorry. And quickly became a media sensation. The public were both horrified and fascinated by the details of the case. The prosecution presented compelling evidence, including the testimonies of witnesses who'd seen Minnie with the children, and damning physical evidence of their bodies that were found in the garden. At her trial, Dean's lawyer, Alfred Hanlon, argued that all the deaths were accidental and that they had been covered up to prevent adverse publicity of the sort that Dean had previously received. So on June 21st, 1895, Dean was found guilty of Dorothy Carter's murder and sentenced to death.
Sorry to interrupt. You say June the 21st?
June 21st, which is today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So almost 18. Yeah. 100 and however many years?
129
years today.
Wow.
There we go.
Except it won't be when people are listening to this. It'll be 2 days later.
2 days later. Wow. What a coincidence.
Yeah.
So between June and August 1895, Dean wrote her own account of her life. Although she claimed to have cared for 28 children in her memoirs. Of these, 5 were in good health when her establishment was raided. 6 had died whilst under her care, and 1 had been reclaimed by her parents. Another 2 had been adopted as daughters. So that left 14 children or so unaccounted for.
Shit.
So no one knows what happened to these children. Right? Then this is her own memoirs, her own report. So the judge, as I mentioned, sentenced her to death by hanging. And despite appeals for clemency, the sentence was carried out on the 12th of August, 1895. They don't mess about, do they? June to August.
No, I've always wondered, you see people in America that have been on death row for like 15 years. And I think standards like a few years. Do you think there's like a legal thing where they've got to give it a period of time in case any more evidence comes out, or
I would have thought so. I mean,
too busy, or
a lot of the time, from what I know, I don't know that much. There's often appeals, isn't there?
Yeah,
and it goes to a retrial, and then and that's the difficulty with capital punishment, I guess, is that if you get the wrong person, it's not great, is it? It's bad enough anyway. There was a guy recently that got released from prison after that. I think it was about 27 years. I think it was like a rape, like something like that. I think there's a BBC documentary about it, and he got released because they found new evidence which suggested it wasn't him. Well, it's not him. He was found not guilty after the new evidence came to light. So, I mean, if you get that wrong, it's bad enough getting it wrong and having to someone being in prison for that at the time. But if you get it wrong and you kill someone, it's pretty bad, isn't it? So, as I mentioned at the top, so Minnie Dean remains the only woman to have been executed in New Zealand.
Right. Okay.
So the case of Minnie Dean had profound implications for New Zealand society. It highlighted the urgent need for reforms in the care and protection of children. In response to the public outcry, the government enacted stricter regulations on childcare and adoption practices. The Infant Life Protection Act of 1893 was amended to include more rigorous oversight of individuals and institutions involved in childcare, aiming to prevent similar tragedies. Minnie Dean's story also persists in New Zealand's cultural memory. She is often depicted as a figure of Gothic horror, a symbol of the dark side of Victorian society. Various books, plays, and even songs have been written about her, contributing to the folklore surrounding her life and crimes. While some portray her as a monstrous villain, others suggest that she was a product of her harsh circumstances, a woman driven to desperate measures by poverty and social ostracism.
I don't buy that.
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about it, actually.
Yeah.
So Minnie Dean's case can be understood within the broader context of societal attitudes towards women and children within the Victorian area. The stigmatisation of unwed mothers and the lack of social support for women in precarious situations created a fertile ground for practices like baby farming. Comparatively similar cases in other countries, such as the infamous baby farmer Amelia Dyer in England and the Finchley baby farmers in Australia, indicate that this was a widespread issue, exasperated by the lack of effective social welfare system. Now, I didn't look into those, but you're quite welcome to if you want to. So that's the Amelia Dyer case in England and the Finchley baby farmers in Australia.
It's not so much the baby farming that bothers me, because, if you were capable of looking after 6, 8 kids, and you help someone out by taking them off their hands and provide their basic needs and stuff, then, yeah, I mean, business is business, isn't it? But
yeah, I mean, you say it jokingly, but that's kind of right? So you're in this situation where you've literally got no money. There's no social welfare. You've got nothing. So you go, okay, well, I'll take your baby off your hand for a couple of quid.
Yeah.
And that'll see me through for the next couple of months or a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then you run out of that money. So what do you do next? Okay, well, I'll take another one on because I need more money. But now you've got 2 mouths to feed instead of the one. So it's costing you more because even though you're getting the money in for the 2 babies, it's costing you more to live because you're having to feed the 2 babies and the 2 kids.
Yeah, so, absolutely. But what I'm saying is that I can understand, I'm skint, so I did this, but there's never an excuse for actually physically harming a baby. That's of course that excuse wears thin,
Yeah, it's more than neglect, isn't it? How did the 3 that they found
smothered to death?
Was one of them smothered?
One of them was smothered.
Yeah, so I mean, it's no
14 unaccounted for. Unless the fucking Pied Piper came by, it's
right. So one died of suffocation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's not smothered. That's potentially cot death, maybe.
Right.
Because that's babies die of suffocation with cot death. An overdose of this drug, which perhaps, I mean, it was probably common practice to use that drug at that time.
Yeah. It's unintentional death, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not defending the woman. I'm just trying to put it into context. That's all. And then obviously, and then the third one was not determined. And there's 14 missing. So, so yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to defend her. I'm just trying to put it into a social context where you get these situations where these women are in a desperate situation because of the lack of welfare support, I suppose.
Yeah.
So in the aftermath of Minnie Dean's case, New Zealand's legal system underwent significant reforms to better protect vulnerable children. As I mentioned earlier, there are amendments to this Infant Life Protection Act, and that required regular inspection of foster homes and mandated the registration of all children under the care. These measures were intended to ensure that children were placed in safe and nurturing environments and that caregivers were held accountable for their welfare. Moreover, the case spurred a broader movement towards the professionalisation of childcare. Social workers and inspectors became more predominant in ensuring the safety of children, and the government increased funding for orphanages and child welfare organisations. These reforms were crucial in mitigating the risk associated with private childcare arrangements and preventing the exploitation and abuse of children.
It's quite sad, really, that like good things tend to often come from really bad things in the first place.
Yeah, like they kind of highlight actually there is a need for this here.
Yeah.
If we'd done it earlier, then perhaps this wouldn't have happened. So,
Aye.
um,
It's incredible. When Maddie was young, she was in A&E probably 3 times in 12 months. Just the usual. She fell off the bed, hit her head. She touched the cooker while it was on.
oh, I.
And, you know, something else happened. I can't remember. Oh, she was running in the living room, slipped, and as she fell down, whacked her ear on the coffee table, and it all started to swell up. And I thought, shit, she's going to get a cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
Took her in, and it was in a period of about 9 months, and they were all superficial, just little accidents, not
kids have bumps.
lack of care. But it's amazing. See, for the next 6 months, the what are they called? The woman that comes round. That's sexist. The person that comes round.
Yeah, like the social care woman or whatever. The district nurse type woman.
District nurse type woman. She randomly, she randomly turned up. I was just in the area.
Oh right, yeah.
I'd come and check Maddie for cuts and bruises, which is good.
It's
you
good.
feel like shit because you're like, are they actually watching me now?
Yeah.
But I suppose it's good because if they weren't doing that, then if there was something going on, it's not spotted.
Yeah, I mean, I think I go on to say, unfortunately, some children do slip through the net, don't they? And we still see it today where kids die because of neglect, and or someone just goes a bit psycho and does something really horrendous.
Sadly, every day.
Yeah. But you know, it's as you mentioned, it's cases like this where if it wasn't for these types of cases, I know this is New Zealand, but I think we mentioned over various shows where this would have had a wider effect across the Commonwealth at least.
Wasn't New Zealand kind of Britain at the time?
It might have been, yeah. I'm not sure, possibly. So yeah, it would have had. And I mentioned the other cases. The one was in Britain, so obviously this would have had a knock-on effect to those as well. So while much of the focus on Minnie Dean has been on her crimes, understanding a psychological profile can offer deeper insight into her actions. It's likely that Minnie experienced significant stress and mental health issues, exasperated by her financial struggles and societal pressures. Some historians suggest that she may have been suffering from depression or other mental illnesses, which, combined with the overwhelming responsibility of caring for numerous children, could have driven her to commit such heinous crimes. The role of the media in shaping the public perception of Minnie Dean cannot be understated either. Newspapers of the time sensationalised her story, often portraying her as a monstrous figure devoid of maternal instinct. This portrayal fed into the public's fear and revulsion, making her a scapegoat for the broader societal anxieties about children's welfare and morality. The intense media scrutiny and public hysteria surrounding the case likely influenced the swift and severe judicial response. Analysing Minnie Dean's case also raises important ethical and moral questions. Whether her actions were undeniably criminal and deserving of punishment, they also reflect the desperate circumstances faced by many women of her time. The lack of a support system and the harsh judgment of society left many women with limited options, leading some of them to resort to extreme measures. In this light, Minnie Dean's story serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of neglecting social welfare and the importance of providing adequate support to vulnerable populations. Today, the issues highlighted by the Minnie Dean case remain relevant, particularly in discussions about child welfare and the criminal justice system. While significant progress has been made in protecting children and supporting mothers, challenges persist, as we've just mentioned. Cases of child neglect and abuse still occur, and the criminal justice system continues to grapple with how best to handle such cases. Minnie Dean's story serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance and compassion in addressing these issues. So just to conclude, Minnie Dean's life and crimes are a sombre chapter in New Zealand's history, reflecting the darker aspect of Victorian society and the desperate measures to which people can be driven by poverty and social marginalisation. Her story underscores the necessity of a robust social support system and the need for compassionate response to those in vulnerable situations. While Minnie Dean remains a figure of infamy, her legacy also contributed to important reforms that have helped to protect countless children from similar fates. Understanding her story in its historical and social context provides valuable lessons for addressing contemporary issues of child welfare and social justice. And I know that we've got in the UK an election coming up in the next few weeks, and
that's fucking dangerous. Some of the people that started to come up the polls and that.
I know, and I think we've had it's about 14 years of austerity and the government ripping funds from public services and social welfare and things like that. So I think in sort of the context currently, you know, it resonated with me, this kind of sort of story a little bit, because once you start ripping away or shredding away, you know, that's that support net for vulnerable people. And when I say vulnerable people, I don't just mean people who don't have jobs. I mean children and the elderly, you know, and people who can't work. Maybe they're disabled or whatever reason, or maybe they suffer from mental health. Once you start ripping away that support system, which has been happening for years in this country, then it creates further issues. You know, I think it's really short-sighted to kind of go, right, okay, well, let's save money here because it won't have an impact for those people later down the line. But it doesn't just have an impact for those people, it has an impact for the wider society, in my belief. So thank you, Fraser, for listening. That was the story of Minnie Dean. It's not a very nice story, but nevertheless, I do think that it did have some positives to result from it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, any tragic events in history, the only way you can actually sort of make them better is to learn from them, really. And
Yeah,
you know, you got to look back at these things and say that was really shit, right? How do we make sure that doesn't happen again?
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Well,
Before,
society's not perfect, and it probably never will be. And it is a shame that things like this have to occur for people, the powers that be, to turn around and go, well, do you know what? Actually, we're getting this wrong.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Life's a constant learning curve. The world is, even, you know, not in the same world, the same type of thing, but obviously, you know, 15 years ago, the internet became a big thing. 15 years ago, it's fucking 30 years ago. 30 years ago, the internet sort of started to become a big thing. Oh, this is wonderful. You can pay for things online. Oh shit, someone's taking all my money. Right, okay, right. We need more secure stuff. And it's all about, like, constantly, as the world changes, there's always going to be shit going down, but it's taking something from it and learning from it and making sure that, you know, those kids' lives, okay, yeah, they lost their lives, but they'll probably save millions of lives in the long term because of the stuff we learned from having better social care and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of a similar sort of occasion where that's happened. in recent times. Like something tragic's happened and it's made a change in the law. And
There was the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
well, I was thinking that,
You
and
can't you
but then
can't access the pilot's cabin.
yeah, stuff like that. I mean, they're kind of sort of backing down off the whole kind of having to sort of put liquids in bags and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's the higher security on aircraft,
Well,
which
for
protect
example,
everybody.
you could murder everyone in the cabin, but you can't get into that pilot's cabin.
Yeah,
You can't get in there. The door's locked, and that's it. And so, like, because of that, no one will ever be able to actually hijack a plane again. There was the other one. Do you remember the lad, not to stick on airplanes, the German wings fella that flew the plane into the mountain?
what was that?
It was 10 years ago, maybe. A German wings pilot. He gave his co-pilot something to make him need a pee.
Oh right.
And his co-pilot, when he went to the toilet, the pilot locked the door and flew the plane into the side of a mountain in France or Germany, killing everyone on board. And because of that, now, if a pilot goes to the toilet, an air hostess, or air steward, has to then go in and sit in the cabin. So there's always two people in the cabin. In case one of
Right.
them has a
Okay.
little bit of a, mental breakdown, there's another person to unlock the door. Because, like I just said, because of the 9/11 stuff, once you're outside that door, you can't get back in unless someone lets you in. So he locked this co-pilot out and then took control of the plane and flew it into a mountain, killed everyone.
Ah, right. So I was trying to think of some as well. And have you heard of Sarah's law?
I've heard of it. I can't remember what it was. It'll
So
come back to me though.
yeah, so Sarah Payne was a young child who was murdered, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, so I'm just having a look because there was Millie's law as well, but I can't remember what that was. And there's Sarah's law, and I think
It
Sarah's
was
law
Billy
is
Dowler, that wasn't it?
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And Sarah's law, I think, from what I'm just reading here, I don't know too much about it. Is that you can access information about if there's like convicted paedophiles in your area and things like that.
Right. Yeah.
I think, or they get sort of like the sex offenders register. People get published on that, don't they? So
Yeah.
I mean, that's helpful, I guess, if you start a new relationship and you've got kids. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, there's various examples. I'm trying to get at. That's the point. Of how terrible things happen, but they do have a positive impact in moving society forward. And I think that the Minnie Dean case is one of those examples.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting story, James. I appreciate you telling it.
Yeah, no worries. Now I'm gonna have to go to bed because I got, like I said before, I got about 3 hours sleep. I'm very tired. And...
I've got a lot of gaming shit to wrap.
Oh, for Murray's birthday, what's he getting?
An Odin 2 Pro.
Oh, you told me, yeah. They look pretty smooth.
It's like a handheld games console, but one that you don't buy games for, you steal them for,
Yeah.
Like it's basically like a retro. But I installed that Xbox Live on it. I think I showed you. I was playing like Fallout and like state of the art games on it.
And it works all right.
The good thing is half of the time he's at his mum's, so it's mine.
So it's yours. Excellent. Have you got Xbox Live, have you?
Yes, yeah. I've been playing. I've got into it, and we need to start playing now that I'm playing it most nights. Football Manager. We need to start that again.
Yeah. I'm still getting strong on mine. I think I've done about 9 days now. Right. Okay. I think we'll knock it on the head then.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll call it a night. Thank you, Fraser, very much for your time and listening to
pleasure, James.
my ramblings. And I suppose I'll see you next week.
Yes, I'll see you then. We'll be talking during the week anyway. Football.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. So this has been the Most Dangerous Podcast. I'm James, and this is my good friend Fraser. Good night.
Good night. Thanks. Take care. Can I moan about something?
Go on.
This week, this is kind of a good example of how my week's gone. I was in Asda because it's Murray's birthday tomorrow, and he's got two friends coming from school. Murray doesn't deal with parties and stuff very well, so he got two friends coming from school. Paid 60 quid for a bouncy castle,
Yeah.
and it's just our kids and his two mates. You know, our kids are a fucking party in themselves. And thought, right, I'll just buy some cheap burgers, stick them in a barbecue. Do you want a burger or not? That's up to you.
Yeah.
And so I went to Asda and ended up spending 150 quid.
Always the way.
Shit. And I thought Pringles were on offer. I don't normally buy Pringles because they're nearly 3 quid a tube. And they were like,
No, it used to be like a quid.
yeah, they were like 130 or something. I thought, I'm buying a tube of Pringles. So I went and bought a dip, and I thought, I'm just going to sit and eat this whole tube of Pringles with dip. When I got home and opened them, everyone was smashed to bits.
That's why they won 130.
Probably. And I thought, someone's just been using this as a fucking musical instrument or something. Everyone.
Oh, that's devastating. Because they're not as nice when they're broken up, are they? I don't think. You want the full hit.
You got to scoop I got sweet chili hummus.
Oh, really?
You got to scoop that up. With
I think if you're going to dip, you've got to go Doritos.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I think, like, you know, they've got more, they're weighty, aren't they? They've got more. Because I find with Pringles, they kind of snap in the dip.
You need to take about 3 at once.
Ah, okay, you got a tactic.
Bit of backbone, yeah. But yeah, I was pissed off. And also, whoever designed the Pringles tube must have been Jeremy Beadle was there for the day. Your hand fit in this tube because it's ridiculous. It needs to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah, they probably it's shrinkflation, so they've probably reduced the size of the.
Yeah, probably.
Someone scored. Hang on.
I'm leaving this in.
All right, yeah, it's a goal check, but I didn't see who scored. I think it might be Holland, you know, or the Netherlands.
What colour are the shirts that they're wearing?
Well, they're all just standing around waiting for this goal check to go through. Ooh.
I like VAR because it gets stuff right more than it gets wrong. But there's something like really shit about scoring a goal now. Unless you really see that there's nothing wrong with the goal. Nearly every goal that goes in, if it's your team, you can't really celebrate it till the referee says it's okay. And if it's against your team, it gives you this false hope that they might disallow it. You kind of think, they might disallow this.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've started to do these automated offsides, haven't they? Which AI assisted.
I will say it's been disallowed. I will say the VAR in this tournament has been bang on.
It's been really good until
not lasting more than 30 seconds.
It was going really well, and then I think one game it was really bad, and it was like an English ref.
Oh right,
it's just had an absolute nightmare with it.
Yeah.
Well, let's have a look. It was Holland. I don't know why it's been disallowed.